Today's demonstration is how to make a pumpkin roll-up cake. First, we need to get our jelly roll pan prepared. We're going to take a piece of parchment paper and cut it to shape to fit inside of the pan. To make this easier, you may have to flip the pan over so that you can see the outline. Use your scissors and cut it to the proper shape. We will do that in time lapse. Now it's time to get our dry ingredients together. 3/4 a cup of flour, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which is our leavening agent, and 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. If you don't have pumpkin pie spice, use 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of cloves. Mix these dry ingredients together. Once we've mixed the dry ingredients together, it's time to add in our wet ingredients. We're going to be adding 3 eggs, and so we want to get those mixed in first by adding them directly into the KitchenAid bowl. You may crack that on the side of the KitchenAid bowl if you choose to, or as was first done, crack it on a flat surface, which is more likely to result in a shell not breaking. Once you've added your eggs, go ahead and mix your eggs into the dry mix to make sure they're well incorporated. To this now we're going to add the rest of our wet ingredients. That includes a teaspoon of lemon juice. This is an acid that will help react with the baking soda you added earlier to give your cake its rise. We now have 1 cup of pumpkin puree. We're using the pumpkin that we've processed earlier this year, though you could use canned pumpkin if you choose to. Quite a bit of canned pumpkin actually is made from butternut squash, so we really like the flavor of our homemade stuff. This batter is now going to get mixed till it's all incorporated together. If you need to scrape down the sides, make sure to turn off the machine and scrape it off so that we won't have any accidents. Now it's time to get our pan prepared. Spray the jelly roll pan with nonstick spray and make sure you spread it on the sides where the cake is going to rise and touch. Put your paper on top and the spray will help hold the paper down. Next, pour your batter into this pan. It's a somewhat thick batter, so it may take a little bit of help to spread it out. You can use your rubber spatula that you scrape the side of the bowl with to also kind of help spread the batter around. We want to make sure it's an even coating, edge to edge. This cake is going to get baked at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted into it comes out clean. When your cake is done and it comes out of the oven, it's time to go ahead and get it prepared to be rolled up into a jelly roll style. We're going to have gloves on because we're touching a cake that's already been out and cooled down for about 10 to 15 minutes. It could be a little bit warm so it's pliable. Get some powdered sugar on your parchment paper so the cake doesn't stick to the paper. When that's done, go ahead and lift your cake up out of the pan or off the cooling rack if you'd already put it there. Make sure to peel off the parchment paper so that it won't end up eating that. And then we're going to lay the cake down on top of the parchment paper that's covered with powdered sugar. Again, the powdered sugar helps the cake not stick to the paper. If the cake is warm, this powdered sugar might absorb into the cake. That's not that big a deal. The key part is that we're rolling this up lengthwise, jelly roll style, so we can start to have the cake learn its shape. It's going to be rolled up this way later on once frosting's inside, but it's best for us to kind of get the cake used to having this shape. Set this off to the side to cool down for about 10-15 minutes while you start to make your frosting. The frosting is going to include 4 tablespoons or half a stick of butter, which hopefully has been pulled out early enough that it's soft so it'll mix up easily. To this, we're going to be adding some cream cheese. Now, we want to use a flat beater attachment so that we don't have product getting stuck in the wires of a whip. So make sure you use this attachment. Cream cheese package might be a little tough to get open, so you might have to use a knife to cut up in the package. Once this is mixed up and starting to come together as one solid mass, it's time to add in the rest of the ingredients. We'll turn this off. Add ourselves 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then we're going to be adding a cup of powdered sugar that will sift into the bowl so that we don't have any lumps. You can pour the cup of powdered sugar straight into a sifter and sift it directly into the bowl. There's no need to get some other bowl dirty. Once all the powdered sugar has been sifted into the bowl, now it's time to put the KitchenAid bowl back into the machine and mix this up, hopefully on low to start with so you don't make a mess as you're seeing on the video right now. Once this is mostly incorporated, you might have to have a rubber spatula to scrape down the sides. So again, turn off the machine. And once you get back to mixing, you can probably get yourself onto high. We want to get this mixed up on high for a little while so that friction of the mixing can help soften this for easy spreading. When it's all done and you take off the flat beater, you can sometimes get rid of cream cheese frosting by banging it against the side of the bowl. But you might see that there's a little bit of a brown tint to the frosting because of the addition of vanilla. It should definitely be one consistent color. Now it's time to go ahead and get ready to put the frosting on the cake. Take the cake that you've let cool down for a good 10-15 minutes, perhaps in the fridge for a little bit of time, and unroll it. This cake that I'm demonstrating was actually in the fridge overnight, so it's pretty stiff. If you do this directly after baking, it won't be this stiff and curled. If your cake is curled, just flip it over so you can try to get to a straight edge. Take the frosting that you've made and spread it down the middle from edge to edge with a rubber spatula. Try to get all the frosting included off your beater attachment. The best tool for spreading this out is your icing spatula, the offset that's easy for you to hold. You want to spread from the middle towards the edges. Now, there's a bottom edge towards you and a top edge away from you, but there's also a right edge and a left edge. I'm more concerned of getting the right edge covered, which is going to be the end of the cake, and the left edge covered, than I am the top and the bottom. Because this cake, as you're about to see, is going to be rolled up lengthwise. So if there's a little bit missing on the top and the bottom, it's all going to come out once it gets rolled up. Do your best to not have any crumbs come onto your frosting, because when you do other cakes, you don't want that appearance. So always practice your skills, even if it's going to get rolled up and get hidden. Now, as I said, this cake was out overnight, so it got really stiff in the fridge. And it's cracking and doesn't look so servable. It's still edible, but that's not the greatest looking cake. I have confidence that what you do in class is going to look a lot better than this. Hey, maybe I'll come and take some video of your roll-up time, do some editing, put it back on my video, make it look like it was a cake that I did. But when this is all done, you'll cut this into slices, and then you get the idea of why they call this a pinwheel cake. That is your pumpkin roll-up cake.